Hello, and happy Monday and happy July. Woo! We made it to another month. Aren't you happy? I know I am. So welcome to another episode of Crime and Conviction. I don't know if I'm gonna turn this case into like a themed type of case, or I'm not gonna be doing no theme for July. I really don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling. I don't know what's up, but either way, I have quite the case for you guys today. We will be talking about the murder of Michelle MacNeill. Michelle MacNeill was born Michelle Marie Sombers in 1957. Now, Michelle was always described as nice. She was described as beautiful. There's just a lot of people saying a lot of nice things about Michelle. She was very popular and athletic. She played the violin. She was a cheerleader. She was a straight A student, and she was an active member of her church. Michelle did an exchange student program in Switzerland, which was a huge deal, and she was a model and a beauty queen. She won a contest, Miss Conrad, in 1976. Michelle met her husband, Martin MacNeill, when they attended a church event for young singles. Martin was born on February 1st, 1956. When he was 17, he joined the army, but 2 years later, he was placed on disability because of a mental disorder. The couple got married months after they met on February 21st, 1978. They were both in their early 20s. According to Wikipedia, 4 months into the couple's marriage, Martin served a 6-month jail sentence for forgery, theft, and fraud. Clearly, this jail sentence did not affect the marriage. They were married for almost 30 years. That's 3 decades. 5 years into their marriage, they had 4 children, and they went on to adopt 4 more. Martin had his law degree, but he opted to use his medical degree to be a doctor. From the outside looking in, this seemed like the perfect family. The relationship between Martin and Michelle seemed to be going great. The children were always well dressed, they were well spoken, and they did not want for anything. A lot of people didn't seem to like Martin though, especially Michelle's family. They said that he had a big ego and he was manipulative, and they just did not like him with their daughter. When Martin turned 50, he started to take care of himself a bit more. He would tan, he would work out, he would focus on his physicality, which is something that Martin wasn't really doing throughout the years. Michelle, knowing her husband, saw these changes and she confronted him about having an affair. This man turned everything around on her and said maybe she's the one that needs changing, and he insisted that she get a full facelift. A full-on facelift is a surgery, and Michelle had some concerns and her doctor had some concerns as well. He said that her blood pressure was a bit high and he would rather her get it under control before she goes into any surgery, and she wanted to lose some weight before doing this. Martin pressed her about this surgery, and she looked at her tanned husband and she wanted to keep up with him, and she was afraid of losing him, so she agreed to it. She went to consultations along with one of her daughters, Alexis. At her last consultation, Martin came with her and he spoke with the plastic surgeon afterwards. He gave him a list of drugs that he wanted prescribed to his wife. Being that Martin was a physician at the time and he promised that he was the one that was going to take care of his wife, Dr. Thompson, who was a plastic surgeon, he just took these recommendations and he ran with them. Michelle had her plastic surgery and she wasn't feeling so 100. and she wanted to stay at the hospital. Martin was pushing for her to come home, but her daughter Alexis also opted to stay at the hospital with her mom. So they did that for the first night. The second night when they came home, Martin told his daughter to leave and that he would take care of his wife. The next morning, Alexis noticed that her mother seemed to be a bit out of it, like she was really loopy. She didn't seem so 100. So she went to have a conversation with her father about the medications that he gave her. He just brushed it off and he said he thought that he gave her too much medication. Now her daughter got very upset about this and said that she is here and she will take care of her mother. Her father should not administer any medication, just leave it alone. Now she went to her mother's room and she was taking care of her mother, and a little later when her mother gained a bit of strength and consciousness and whatever, she told her daughter that Martin just kept on feeding her pills and feeding her pills, and he gave her so much pills that she threw up. And even when she threw up, he cleaned her up and he was still giving her pills. Michelle was all wrapped up and she had eye patches on and stuff like that, so she couldn't even see what her husband was giving her. Now she suggested to her daughter to just give her the pills so she could feel the pills, and her daughter would tell her the type of pills that it was and the amount that she was supposed to take. So if her husband was giving her too much, she would know. One night when Alexis was taking care of her mom, she dropped a bombshell on her. Michelle said that if anything should happen to her, the kids need to ensure that it wasn't Martin that did this. Alexis was a bit taken back by this statement. She was even a bit upset, but she managed to get over it. Unfortunately, Alexis wasn't able to take care of her mom to full recovery because she had to return to medical school. Before Alexis left for school, she ensured that everything was fine and alright and that her mom was good. And her mom was good. Her mom was fine and alright. On April 11th, 2007, Martin went into work as usual. He picked up his youngest daughter from school and then they arrived at the house around 11:35. Martin told his daughter to go and check on her mom while he stayed in the kitchen. 9-year-old Ada went searching for her mother. She was calling her, but she wasn't getting a response. Then Ada pushed the door to the bathroom and let out a scream. Martin came running to see what happened, and when he stepped in the bathroom, he saw his wife in the bathtub unconscious. He called the police.
For medical okay, what's the problem, sir? Free medical. Sir, what's wrong?
I'm falling in the bathtub.
Who's in the bathtub? Who's in the bathtub?
My wife.
Okay, is she conscious?
She's not. She's not on a position.
Okay, sir. Sir, I need you to calm. Sir, I can't understand you, okay? Can you calm down just a little bit? Okay, what, your wife is unconscious?
She is unconscious. She's underwater.
Okay, did you get her out of the water?
I can't. I just let the water out. She's only formless.
She's under the water?
She is out of the water now. What was the enemy ambulance?
Okay, is she breathing at all?
She is not.
Okay, sir, the ambulance has been paged. They're on their way, okay? Do not hang up. What? Sir? Why would an adult female be so? Sir, this is 911. Can I help you?
I need help.
Okay, sir, they're on their way. Is your wife breathing?
She is not. I am a physician. I got CPR in progress.
You're doing CPR. Do you know?
Oh, no,
Sir, how old is your wife?
my wife is 50 years old. She just had surgery here a couple of days or a week ago.
What kind of surgery did she have?
She had a facelift.
She had a facelift?
Yes.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I'm doing it.
Okay, do not hang...
A few months before this incident, Martin said that he was sick and he was walking with a cane. Now, because he had the cane and he was supposedly weak, he was too weak to lift his wife out of the bathtub. So what he did was send his 9-year-old daughter over to the neighbor's house to ask for assistance. When the neighbor came over there, Doug, he just saw Martin standing over his wife in the bathtub. Anyways, they lifted her out together, placed her on the bathroom floor, and Martin began performing CPR. But he wasn't doing the CPR right. He was doing it way too gently, and every few pumps he would stop and he would start crying and being dramatic and like saying, "Oh, why me, Lord, why me?" When the emergency crew came, they had to take Martin out of the bathroom because he was being so hysterical and they could not do their job properly. He could be heard in the next room crying and screaming and just being dramatic. In the middle of all this happening, Martin took his cell phone to call Alexis, and he just said, "Your mother was found in the bathroom, she's not breathing," and he hung up. No more conversation. Alexis immediately jumped into her vehicle and drove to the airport. While driving to the airport, her first thought was that her dad had killed her mom because of what her mother said a few weeks earlier. 50-year-old Michelle was declared dead later that day. Police really didn't do an investigation, and an autopsy was performed, and the cause of death was found to be cardiovascular disease. The police and the autopsy report concluded that her death was accidental and natural. 3 days after his wife died, the funeral was held. Martin threatened members of Michelle's family, saying that if they turned up to the funeral, they will be escorted off by the police. When Alexis had arrived at the home, the first thing that she wanted to see was the medication. You see, she had a diary that she wrote down all of the medication that she had administered to her mother, so she would have known how much medication was supposed to be in the bottle, because you know, if there's 60 pills and you take 2 a day, quick maths. But when she asked to see the medication, she was too late because her brother Damien threw out the medications because it was making their father sad. She was a bit suspicious, and then she remembered that her mother confided in her and some other friends, saying that she thinks that her husband is having an affair. So one night, Martin is sleeping. Alexis takes his phone and she prints out his phone records, and she saw a number that she did not know calling him frequently. This number belonged to Gypsy Willis. Gypsy was a woman that Martin met online, and he didn't keep it a secret that he was married. He even told her that he had the perfect wife and the perfect life. Despite that, they started dating, and the person said that they were really good for each other, but in a bad way. Gypsy wasn't Martin's first affair. The older children elected to help their father with the younger children, but their father declined and said that he found the perfect nanny. When they asked about this nanny, who this nanny was, do we know her, he said that this nanny was Gypsy. Immediately, Alexis knew who this was, and she protested and said her mother knew about Gypsy and she does not want Gypsy in this house. You know what Martin did? Martin kicked her out and moved Gypsy in. Gypsy did not cook. Gypsy did not clean. And during an interview, when she was asked if she was moved in as the girlfriend or the nanny, Gypsy's response was that she was moved in to help with the children, but if the opportunity came up, they would have sex. By the way, Gypsy went to Michelle's funeral uninvited, and during the service, she sent Martin some suggestive text messages and some suggestive photos. 3 months after Michelle's death, Martin proposes to Gypsy. Martin was well on his way to start his new life, but he had kids. So Martin wanted to ship these kids away, get them readopted to this family in California. Now when the older children found out about this, they protested because these are their younger siblings. Martin had sent his oldest adopted daughter, Giselle, back to the Ukraine for the summer, but 2 months turned into 3 months, then 4, then 5, then 6. It looked like Giselle was gone for good. Martin took Giselle's identity and gave it to Gypsy. They went and they changed the birth date and they put Martin as Giselle's spouse. The date on his fake marriage certificate was the date of Michelle's funeral. Now, Gypsy said that this was Martin's idea to steal the identity and everything, and she just went along with it. And they did this because she owed $50,000 in back taxes, and instead of paying it off, he stole the identity so the taxes wouldn't follow them. Like, okay. One of the older children found out that Giselle was still in the Ukraine, so she went over there to get her. Now, Giselle was there for almost a year, and when her sibling came to get her, she was living in a deplorable condition. When Giselle had arrived back into the US, obviously Martin's cover got blown, because now there's 2 people with this name and there's 2 people with this social security number. The couple was arrested in 2009 for federal identity theft charges. Martin got 4 years and Gypsy got 21 months. Because the family and the children weren't pleased with the investigation or the lack thereof into Michelle's death, they started their own investigation. When they found out about Gypsy, they went to the police about it, but the police could not care less. And then they went to the government. They were ignored. And they went to the newspapers and they were ignored. They were ignored up until Martin and Gypsy were arrested. The police thought, if he was capable of doing this, what else is he capable of? So 2 investigators were on it and they started looking at Martin way back into his college years, and they found a lot. Martin was not who he claimed to be. So yes, his name was Martin, but the papers that he used to get into medical school, they were all fake. Remember earlier when I told you guys that Martin joined the army when he was 17 for almost 2 years, but he had to get let go because of a mental health disability? Well, Martin faked schizophrenia and he told them that he was hearing voices. Now, for almost 30 years, Martin was receiving a check every month for almost $3,000. So this man was working as a doctor, he was getting his disability check, and he could not pay off Gypsy's $50,000? Really, Martin? The investigators reviewed the toxicology report, and even though the drugs that were in Michelle's system was not at a toxic level, everything was at a safe level, the mixture of drugs was the problem. There were drug combinations that should not have been there. For whatever reason, the authorities sent a letter to the MacNeill's son. I think he was the only son, Damian MacNeill. They sent a letter to his university saying that he was there on the morning that his mother died and he might be a danger to the other kids in the school. Now, Damian was the one that got rid of the pills for his father, but unfortunately and sadly, Damian killed himself in 2010. So the world may never know if Damian was even involved in the crime or he was an innocent bystander. The medical office changed the cause of death for Michelle to undetermined. In 2011, when Gypsy got out of prison, they offered her a plea deal which said if any charges were to arise, she would plead guilty and she would also testify in court if there were a trial. When Martin was let out of prison in 2012. He was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife. The trial started in 2013 and he pled not guilty. The trial lasted for 22 days. Martin's defense team said that Michelle simply overdosed on her prescription medication and fell in the bathtub and drowned. On November 9th, 2013, Martin was found guilty on first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. On December 6th, 2013, he attempted suicide in prison but failed. On September 19th, 2014, Martin was sentenced to 15 years to life and he won't be eligible for parole until 17 years. 2.5 years into Martin's prison sentence, on April 9th, 2017, 60-year-old Martin committed suicide. He had recently lost an appeal and this is what speculated to just push him over the edge and cause him to commit suicide. His defense attorney also said that he wasn't surprised because Martin said that being in prison was hell and it was not a life. To this day, Gypsy's own family believes that she had something to do with Michelle's initial murder. The children have done interviews about the whole situation. Gypsy has done plenty of interviews about the whole situation. She was even featured on a Dr. Phil episode. I have no idea why, but yeah, that's all the information that I have for you guys today, and it is time for my thoughts. My thoughts are literally not new. I think I've said this a million times on a million episodes because this concept is not new. Man finds a mistress. Man wants to get rid of his wife. Instead of going the legal way and divorcing his wife, he kills his wife. Man moves on with mistress. No, he could have simply just divorced his wife. Like, yes, they were together for many years, but it's easier for him to walk away than it is for him to kill her, because she could have found a new life and she could have been taking care of her children and doing what she wanted to do. She would have been alive. And you see how fast he wanted to get rid of his children when Michelle died? That means that he didn't care. He was just like, okay, time to start a new life now with a new woman and just move on and leave everything behind. That's despicable. That's one. And the second thing that he did that was disgusting was allow his 9-year-old daughter to find his mother like that. That was disturbing to me. That solidified the fact that this man did not care, because he traumatized his daughter for his own benefit. That's disgusting. Straight up, 100%. And the fact that he could not handle prison, he was in prison for what? Maybe 8 years tops, because he did 6 months, he did 4 years, and then he was doing 2.5. So what's that? 8, 7, I'm not good at math. But he could not handle being in prison and decided to kill himself. This man didn't value life. Clearly, this man did not value life. Now let's talk about Gypsy. I think she knows more than what she's letting on. Even her family thinks like that. And for her to turn up at the funeral, disrespectful, and to be texting this grieving man pictures of your nonny. Ma'am, disgusting. And the fact that she was comfortable still being with him, still sleeping with him, partaking in illegal activities, because remember they did the whole name switch thing. She was too comfortable. She was way too comfortable. So I think that she knows way more than she is letting on. Maybe one day she'll write a book. I don't know. She's been doing interviews and she's been trying to make herself seem like this meek type of, oh my gosh, woe is me character, but that she is not. Anyways, that's all I have for my thoughts today. My sources will be linked below in the description box if you guys want to read up on it yourself. I think there is trial footage on YouTube. All you guys gotta do is, you know, type in the names in the search bar and that will come up. But yeah, that's all from me. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Have a beautiful July. And until next time, remember to be a beautiful soul, not just a gorgeous face. Bye. By the way,